Talking on a wavefront abnormality in patients of multifocal cases. Lucy had nicely described the various ways to really get into a. I'll take you through the possible reasons for multifocal patients not being very happy. This holds true for a monofocal or a toric lenses also. The first thing is poor visual outcome in these patients, which can be for distance near or both distance near intermediate. And one of the most important cause, which has been highlighted by Dr. Kumar Doctor also, is residual refractive error, especially cylindrical power in these patients. And some patients may have some sort of increased higher order aberrations after implantation of these IOLs. Therefore, what he said was never over-promise your patients of multifocal IOLs. And in fact, we should be under-promising and deliver much more than what we say. That will save a lot of complication in the post-op period. Sometimes we do have a surgical complication that may be a factor for a poor outcome in multifocal IOLs. The post-op problem which we discussed, like ocular surface disease in these patients. How do we approach these patients of multifocal IOLs which are not very happy with the outcome subsequently? As I said, pre-op and post-op assessment is very, very important. So we do have pre-op workup of these patients in your hand. And that also gives you assessment of post-op much more better in these patients. Post-op refractions should also be done. Never fear of refraction in these patients, especially if they are coming back with a very unhappy scenarios. Abnormality is not routinely done in all these patients, but yes, if they are unhappy patients, you must do it. But that is only beneficial even if you have done pre-op abnormality also. Fortunately, in my place, I do get abnormality done for every multifocal and toric patient pre and post after surgery, first day and subsequent follow-up. That also helps in the counseling of these patients. Always look for ocular surface. Ocular surface per se may give you a lot of aberration profile for these patients, which changes with treatment also. Pupil may be a very important factor, which Dr. Lucy talked about, angle alpha and angle kappa. And sometimes we distort the pupil after surgery, and that may possibly be a problem for these patients. Posterior capsule, as discussed earlier, can be a factor in these patients, which may in fact contribute into aberration profile with the IOL as such. IOL centration is very, very important aspect of multifocal IOLs, and it goes with the surgical technique, and putting the lens in proper place is also very important feature of surgery in these patients. Look for our macular problems, which do happen in some patients. Maybe that is the cause of poor vision in these patients. Look for other eye status. If they are cataract, you can always make them happy by shifting your refractive outcome in other eye to make the patient feel better. But I think most important will be IOL centration. This will be checked with dilatation or without dilatation. Without dilatation is a better way to look into these patients, because that tells you how effective your centration for these patients, the normal pupillary size. Then dilate the pupil around 4-6 millimeters, see what is your position of IOL things. You see this is a 6 millimeter dilatation. And most often this will give you a clear clue how effective your lens is. On operating table, which Dr. Arup was talking about, with the things make a difference if you center your lens as per the rexis centration or a pupil centration in these patients. There are surgeons who constrict the pupil at the end of surgery and see if the central ring of your diffractive IOL is centered to the pupillary centration. That can be one way. Normally what I do in my operating area is I take the patient's fixation to the coaxial light, and the inner ring should be having all three coaxial light inside the inner ring, and that also gives you a good way of judging your centration. If you have access to image guiding systems like a Varion or Callisto, that also gives you a good positioning of your IOL in the rexis. Post-op, these are very important. We highlighted ocular surface and things. Most importantly, the ventral cylinder has to be checked for these patients. And cornea can also give you sometimes irregular astigmatism rather than intraocular lens. And poor motivation is also very important. Here, one thing I would like to highlight is most often in IOL surgeries or multifocal surgeries, the target is always a posterior capsule, and which may not be truly a cause for a poor visual outcome in many, many cases. Before you target a posterior capsule, you must look for a refractive error of patient ocular surface, posterior segment macular changes, and if you feel that everything is all right, aberration profile can also be checked, then target the posterior capsule. Open the posterior capsule only when you have felt that you may not require IOL exchange. But if you feel IOL exchange is required, never do a posterior capsular damage because that can jeopardize your surgeries. Pupillary trauma, which I talked about, may be the cause for these patients, which may be a factor sometimes. Decentral IOL can happen because of various reasons. If you put a multifocal IOL, you must do eye trace, see the location of position of your toric axis. With a large deviation, they should be tackled as fast as possible within the first few weeks, so they don't get into this thing. There are various techniques to decrease aberration profile, like taking your spherical aberration by lenses. Like first lens which came with aspheric design was Technis. Now they talk about chromatic aberration profile change. Decreasing the multiple ring segment in diffractive zone also can decrease, improve the contrast in these patients if you look into the contrast subsequently. Technis new Symphony lens came with the same idea of decreasing the aberration profile. This is a study which talks about around 65% of cases have a visual symptom of multifocal IOS, and 7% of IOL require exchange. This is a slightly older study which may not be true now, but still we have patients with significant aberrations which decreases as time passes. Time is a major factor in these patients of post-multifocal IOL patients. Aberrometry assessment in multifocal IOLs or post-IOL patients is best done with a ray tracing technology, that is eye trace, which we have. Other methods of aberration profile judgment is okay pre-operatively. By post-op, it is a ray trace method which is the best one to assess. Hartmann-Sack is another tool which can give you aberration profile, but doesn't hold really true for us pseudophakic patients. The eye trace gives you a various profile, like this one, both cornea and internal optics can be judged, and you can really decide on an angle alpha, angle kappa, also pre-op, and decide on the suitability for a patient. Let me discuss two of my patients with difficulty. This is one patient, very good visual outcome post-op period, 6, and 6, but he was not happy after 2 weeks and 4 weeks of surgery with a lot of glare, halos, and did not be able to drive the night time. We did an aberrometry profile for this patient. In fact, if you look into a corneal aberrometry, this patient, the maximum thing is the astigmatism, which is a significant part. Trefoil, coma, and defocus is not there in this patient. The corneal aberration profile was beautifully normal in this patient, which was same as a pre-op. If you look at the pseudophakic or internal profile of aberrometry, there again we didn't have any defocus problem. There was no trefoil and coma, which was significant enough. So this meant that this patient did have a normal aberrometry profile. Even his angle alpha and kappa was within normal range. So despite having a normal profile, this patient was not very happy as such. So these are patients where you have to look for other reasons for our patient being not happy. This patient we followed up for 3 months subsequently, and he did get adapt to a new phenomena he used to have. This is a case scenario 2 where a patient had poor outcome, 6-12 distant vision and 8 near vision, and we did find this patient very unhappy because distance near both was very uncomfortable to the patient. Refraction showed a plus refractive error for this patient. So if you target is missed by even a 0.5 plus side, your vision patient may not be very happy. And looking at the profile of aberrometry done in this patient post-op period, the corneal aberrometry profile was almost normal. You have a very low defocus, little bit of astigmatism, trefoil was very minimal, coma was not there. So this patient did have a higher order aberration in the cornea. And if you look at the pseudophakic profile or internal aberrometry profile, this patient did have a little bit of coma and trefoil. You can see this is trefoil, a little bit, and coma was there. But this was also within a normal range. So this means the lens did have a little problem, but not very significant. But once we looked into other aspect of angle alpha and kappa, which had changed, I don't know how it happened, but sometimes pre and post-op, if you see this, there's a little variation happening in these patients. So this patient did have angle kappa, which is more than 0.5 microns, and angle alpha more than 3.5 microns. So this is a range which is little away from the normal acceptable range for a multifocal IOS. And apart from that, patient had a plus refractive error, and these two combined was the cause for unhappiness for this patient. And ultimately, this patient required an exchange of lens, and after exchange, This angle alpha and kappa was not a very significant problem. It was a refractive error which was a major problem for this patient. And patient did well after the exchange of lens. The important thing to highlight here is there would be a patients, despite having a little bit of acromegaly profile, maybe asymmetric profile, a little bit of a lens which is not centered to your angle alpha, may have various other reasons for unhappiness. That has to be taken care of. The patient is not happy with all your resources, your treatment, that this is a patient for exchange. And for exchange, you have to be very careful, either go with a monofocal lens or look for other options, because multifocal replacement may not be a suitable case with an acrometry which is not abnormal in these patients. So I would summarize, multifocal is not for every patient, especially you should look for angle alpha and kappa beforehand. Rule out patient with corneal aberration, which is profile not normal. If you look into these 2 or 3 things, the patient will be happy with your multifocal implantation. Thank you.